Midjourney, SVG, Comfy UI, all kinds of AI coaching and stuff, generative media. Let's keep it short. Good evening, everyone. It is 8:30 on the 4th of May. It's a Sunday. How are you all doing? We've helped actually. There we go. And the curtain's up. Hope you're all doing well. Like I say, Sunday night. We're going to take it easy. I got a bunch to show you. We're going to start off with a little bit of Midjourney because we didn't really finish that section. I'm going to show you a little trick which you might appreciate. Okay. And we're going to use Claude for that, but you could use Gemini, ChatGPT, or a local LLM. Hope I'm coming through loud and clear for you guys. Just checking the sound waves. Looks good. So hello everybody. There's a link in the description. Don't forget, if you're watching live or if you're watching later, you can join our Discord right here. Hello Fernicar, thanks for joining, glad to see you. Happy to see you all. So, I think my ears need to pop. I've got a funny, like the speakers sound quiet to me tonight. Oh, that's better. Just have to yawn. How's it going, Full Dive? Yeah, I'm doing well. Like I say, I've been very busy, actually. The reason we're doing a little bit of a late start, I just finished making like 23 shorts from one live stream. So, yeah, it's going to get interesting. But yeah, like I say, we're investing a lot of time into production at the moment, just to sort of increase everything. We're also going to be taking a walkthrough on a lot of the stuff I built over the weekend while I was away. So I've done a Python-based CLI port of a JavaScript project. These two are by the same guy. One of them creates landscapes, the other one creates flowers, and it's just Python. Python with SVG. And then Noise CLI is making some cool noise, so we're going to host that. Yeah, it's going to be Sunday chill for sure. We're just going to take a little chill, walk through everything. SVG art grid. This one's really nice. I really like the style of this, and it was taken, I think, again from JavaScript. So what I'm doing is I'm porting stuff. Yeah, flowers. Yeah, we call them non-flowers because it's just actually lots and lots of lines made with a algorithm or something. Anyway, also SVG Suite. It's out. The nodes are up. So I think I already checked that out in the previous stream. But we might take a quick look at that because it's kind of all linked. It's all kind of the same thing. We're also going to look at SVG color operations UI. So this we're going to look at first, but not first, because we need to look at the mid-journey. Now, where we left it was we'd given it a bunch of source images, right? And then it was making us nice imagery with this prompt. Now, I've got an idea. And the idea goes a little bit something like this. We grab ourselves a copy of the trusty VS Code, right? Oh man, I've got the worst congestion at the moment. I think it's like tree sap or something. We get it quite bad here. It's that time of year, you know. No, I sneeze because of pollen or something. I don't even have hay fever. I think it's just genetically modified. I read a story all about it. Hey, we should rewrite pollen with AI. Pollen was a cool story, man. Anyway, it's just a simple concept. Right. Oh, I do apologize. Right, so let's make ourselves some files. First of all, we're going to need a place to keep all of our cool stuff that we're going to make. So we're going to call this one Sharona Advanced with an E at the end because I'm excited. Okay. And it sounds French. Okay. There we go. Advanced. So, obviously as always, a plan.txt. I like to start with an empty plan.txt. Hello Kurt Curtis, welcome to the stream. Thanks you could join. Love is in the air. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's pheromones, guys. Maybe I'm allergic. To be honest, it's funny. I had a really cool night off. Played a game called Astroneer with a friend and had a great time. And like I said, I don't play games enough these days. And it is the summer and all. But yeah, the funny thing is, immediately after it, I was supposed to go to bed. And I just had a struck of, you know, sometimes inspiration comes at strange times. And like I said, I like to strike while the iron's hot. So that's where all the stuff that we're looking at is coming from. I'm on a bit of an investigation into the SVG format because I've already discovered that it's basically XML, and I've got a cool hack which I think I already showed you guys, where you basically rename an SVG as .xml, upload it to an agent, and then you can tell it to do various different things with the information and save it as an SVG, and sometimes it even works. And that's why I decided to build tools which do the same thing every time, and so if I can get that to work, it'll work every time. That's how it's made. But we're moving on. We're not going to look at that for a while. So the thing I want to look at right now is Sharona, and I want to look at it with the Omni, and I want to use the new information. So there's a couple of components that are going to come in here. First component is I'm going to need the prompt list. So if I go into Comfy UI and then I go into custom nodes, which is a folder in here usually, you'll see DJZ nodes. And then way down the bottom, hiding away somewhere, we've got my prompts folder. And then if I put it on date, there we go, character v2. So I'm going to copy of that, put that there. So this would be the prompt list for the new character model, okay? It's pretty much the same until here, and then it's all different, right? Now what I want to do is I want to align my images with this. So I'm going to give this to the LLM. I've got a plan I'm going to give to the LLM. And then there's probably another thing. Let me think now. Ah yeah, the mid-journey prompts. Because we might change the image combination. This is going to like evolve as we go. So I'm going to take my mid-journey prompts and we're going to put that in the plan. Okay. Okay, save that. And then I think we can just say it's fine, I'll change it in a minute when I get there. Okay. So what I'm thinking is, yeah, we already did the pollen story. It's dandelion. Yeah, exactly. But do you know what, guys? It's really funny. Did we ever actually publish dandelion? Yeah. But it would be good to go and grab the old one and use it as research to distill, because I would be interested to write a book. If I remember, a lot of those early stories were quite conceptual and didn't have developed characters and backstories and stuff, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm gonna have to go and dig it out. Like, this is one of the reasons why I've been spending a lot of time getting reorganized lately. The amount of stuff that we had done since I started the channel alone is insane. So yeah, it's been a bit major effort. I'm still in the mid. I'm still doing it. It's like trying to alphabetically sort the Tower of Babel. It really is. So anyway, so what are we doing right now? Obviously, if you just joined, oh, what's this? Dragon says, can we have the sequel called Daffodil? I may have to explain that to the non-Welsh. Call it Snowdrop. Right, so plan Sharona. So the idea is we have a prompt with Midjourney and we have a caption list with the Laura. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say, I want prompts which are aligned with the caption list. Okay. I might even break this down into a template. Okay, so templates. So we've got illustration of cave girl from a fantasy time period. Then we've got woman is dressed in a unique outfit. Alright, let's just break this down. Make it bigger. Not that one. That one. Make that one bigger. Talking about Welsh, says Fernicar. Can LLM handle that with glossary so the reader could get a cool introduction to the cultural concept or whatever Welsh is? Haha! Oh man, I was just saying the other day, you know, there's all the road signs are in Welsh if you go into Wales. It's very cool. Anyway. Right, so let's break this down, shall we? So let's just break it up. Break it up. A blend of modern... Oh, damn it! God damn it! That's why! Doink! Damn. I didn't even notice. Mind you, that's only in the mid-journey stuff, so it wouldn't have affected my work. Or my end of the bargain. Okay, so we've got her description, which again kind of contrasts a little bit. There's a lot of black stuff in there. Black loincloth, black stripes. It's straps, not stripes. But that is how it breaks down. Let's put a word wrap on so you can see it properly, yeah? So, what are we doing right now? We're breaking it down. Oh, if you're interested, Fernicar, in a bit of Wales and you want to learn a bit of Welsh, just zoom into Wales on any British map and you'll see that the town names are all written in Welsh. And if you try to read them out, then you will get a grasp of what the language sounds like. Because one, you won't be able to, and two, you'll be like, ah, that sounds like Welsh. Maybe, if you're lucky. But yeah, let's see if I can get it down. So there's, near me is Aberystwyth, and there is also fun places like Llandudno, which you'll have fun reading if you're in America. So we got template of cave girl. So I'm going to call that right. Illustration of cave girl from a fantasy barbarian time period. So I'm going to start that off as setting. I'd say image type / setting. No. Image type, and then I'll say subject description, and then I'll say person's attire and pose suggest prehistoric elements. This is also part of the, and I'll say woman, and then we have style, image style. It's basically the breakdown, which means we can do so the prompt must follow the format. This as a single paragraph format 9 of text. Wouldn't keyword by barbarian time period conflict? No, because what I want to do is actually paint in the futuristic stuff myself. I don't want it to just appear, because the problem is he gets obsessed with it, and you'll end up with, like, you know, she'll have an iPhone, or, you know, you should be listening to headphones. I'm trying to get, for the purposes of Midjourney, this is Midjourney, not Stable, and this isn't our training or captioning. But yeah, I'm trying to get as far away from it as possible, because it can do it. The problem is making sure she doesn't turn into a Neanderthal, because that can happen if you go back and, you know, if you manage to get locked in to that prehistoric time period. Because I'm trying to go for like that kind of like it's not really Conan, but it's that kind of thing. Right. For in terms of the aesthetics I'm going for anyway, I'm trying to do a bit of a mix, a bit of a twist, a bit of a combo. Prompt templates. So we've just broken it down, given it a quote, and then broken down. Oh crap, I can't. Hang on, if I make changes, I got to make changes to both places, otherwise he'll be like, there's a mismatch. I don't know what you're showing me, which would be fair. So we're saying that the prompt I'm using on Midjourney follows the format image type, subject, description, image, style, right? So if we take a look at the Laura that we have, it follows quite a similar style. So if I just grab one line, okay, so I'll say, here is a breakdown of the prompt format that is being used today. This isn't like a long-term thing, this is just for now. So the prompt must follow the format image, cool, right? Caption sample, and then we're going to do the same thing. Caption template, because the caption template's actually even simpler. So breaking it down, let's just there we go. That was the description. So that one there is image description. Okay, and then there. Okay. And this would be the character description. Okay. And this would be image type. Kinda. It'll work. It'll work. Which almost follows the same thing. Not really. There's no style description. Which is why I want to... This is why we're doing this, by the way. So the caption must follow... He's good at spotting patterns, guys. So the caption must follow... we're kind of doing a rhyme right now, right? See? If I wrote, look, even VS Code knows. I tried to highlight. There we go. Look, it's highlighting it. Oh, he gets to there and he can't go any further. Can we do 4 words? I didn't know that. Okay, well, anyway. So the caption must follow the format. Image type. Full stop. Subject description. It's actually commas, but... digress. Image style. Maybe it was a full stop for that one. I don't know. Center. I mean, to be honest, I think it's... Wait. Yeah. And it's actually this. That's why I'm screwing it up and copying it from the wrong place, aren't I? Starts. Okay. So breakdown of the prompt format being used, prompt template, prompt. So that's the example prompt. Example prompt. And then we'll say, instead of, no, I should have said prompt sample. Well, whatever. I'll change this to example. Like I said, I'm checking for rhyming right now. I'd probably, like I said, there's so many times we do this, we never really mention it. It likes rhyming. It likes going A, B, C. I can see the difference, and that's important, right? So, anyway. So, image type. So, I've given it two mappings. I've given it this mapping, and then I've given it this mapping, right? Use the same format, so it's almost like poetry. Okay, if you look at that there, let's see, did I not? I think that's correct. So now it has a nice structure to it. Clear instructions, and he's gonna look through this. Luckily there's only 22 prompts, so it shouldn't be too bad. How many characters is that? 9,000. A few thousand tokens there. Alright, nothing by modern standards. I'm going to put my objective up here once we're done with this foundation work here, and then we'll run it. So alright, so my goal is to align the prompts I want to run through Midjourney by using prompts which are, and then we're going to go further than that. So anyway, we're basically creating a fine-tuned prompt generator it just works with text files and any agent that if you get good results, just use whatever you can find which works. I don't really have a preference. I'm a results-based guy. So if it's good and you like it, that's all that really matters in my opinion. You'd be surprised how good some of these small models are actually getting now. Okay, I think we're going to use Claude today though, just incidentally. Let me just check. Yeah, wait. Yeah, we're using Claude 3.7 Sonnet in thinking mode with like 2,000 thinking tokens most likely. Okay, so like I say, these are all captions which are making images, in case you want to see what that actually looks like, because I just noticed we haven't even looked. She's having her test images drawn right now. So this model is being used to illustrate the story that we've already written, and this is all built for purpose, but we did it backwards. We've had the images inform the story using all of these tools that we've got, and a lot of like human curation. I will say though, she's still quite unstable. She seems to change height a lot, and her socks still change length a lot. So it's not done yet, but this is the second generation. And because of this Omni thing giving such consistent results, I thought it would be cool to pick an image for the outfit. In this one we've picked, oh, you can't even see it, it's like a thumbnail. Still a thumbnail. Come on, we picked this as the source image to try and keep Midjourney on rails, and it did an okay job, but as you can see, she's actually bouncing around all over the place. So what I thought to do was remove the style references and potentially change this image to one which has been made today from this process. And then we pick the ones, we just like continuously now going towards a more consistent look. Cognitive requirement could be compared to poetry. True, Miss Mongolian, says Fernicar. Remember when all you created was done in 3.5 Sonnet? Is it an obsolete model? Most models can't use Klein, and yet usage dropped. Well, it's just like when SDXL came out, SD 5.5 dropped, and well, 2.1 just disappeared. You know, I trained probably 400 checkpoints and LoRa's for that model, and no one uses it now. It's quite funny. Feel free to use my checkpoints though; they're still there and they still work. So I wouldn't be surprised if 3.5 Sonnet's still up. It would be nice if it was a bit cheaper, and if that was the case, that's not a bad value proposition, let's say. I like how I've ended up with mega structure ceilings in some of these shots. By accident, that's what, look, this is what I've ended up with. Like you're in a Truman Show and the roof is all falling apart, but it painted like the sky. That's what it looks like to me. Never used SD2. That's what I mean. That's the one I did the most with Civic, was SD2. You can learn a lot very fast though, because it's got good quality, but it's got less requirements. Yeah, my best checkpoints never got a 1.5 conversion. Yeah, it's true. It's because you can't really convert it. SD 2.1 is genuinely 4 times the model that 1.5 was, dimensionally speaking. The depth is just huge. But SDXL blew that out the water. So, you know, like I said, I just embrace if there's a better thing and we can train on it and it checks all the boxes, I usually just embrace it. So yeah, the idea is we're going to pick a bunch of winners. So that's what the image will be. But then we obviously need a prompt. Yep. And I want the prompt to be like this, but I would like it to be a bit more like this. Okay. So we're like trying to get towards an alignment of like a defined look. I kind of like this sort of Parker type things. This is a cool design. But hey, it's not like it won't show up. Look, see, it is kind of like common what it's trying to do. Right. So let's get back to the agent planning. So I've just given it a way to make a modular blend, and then I can command it like an agent to make me more prompts. And so, yeah, what I'm going to say now is I'm going to say we need to use, we need to generate new prompts which use a blended template. Yeah. Before I go further, I need to make sure I haven't made my life difficult. So these image type. Okay.
Jensen, my ball lips readers.
I got an idea. What? Lovely. And this one will be caption. Okay. Subject description, character description. Okay, so I just gave them unique names, so I don't need to then have him understand again to map a numbering system to it or something, right? So the blended template will be, because I'm not going to use depiction of Hunter style cave woman character, I'm going to use the bit from Mid Journey, cave girl from the fantasy. I'm going to use that one. Okay, on that space. And then I want to use the caption character description. So Sharona, it'll ignore the Sharona bit. It's fine, I'll get away with that. Okay, and then caption description as well. And this is the reason I split that up, because I know it's part of the same thing, is because this part has to be the same. Well, maybe not the serious expression part. I think I should probably change that. Hang on. I have to remove it from the original. See, that's out of one of the captions, see. It's not part of the goal here, though. Right. She's standing, so this is the location, right? So what I can do is I can have this bit varied. So all I have to do is change this and have the rest be the same. And then that way I'll be able to get loads of different highly varied locations and situations without changing, because I'm trying to keep this part under control. That's a big part of what we're trying to do. So, and like I said, I want to use Omni. If I can't, I'll be cancelling Midjourney, because I only have it for that. Like I say, I literally dipped back in to check out version 7. Still had it when Omni came out. I thought, alright. You've tempted me. So she is standing in a snowy environment with a blue sky. That's specific to the picture. Everything else being the same, because remember, we're generating, not captioning. Alright. So, let's see. Is there anything else? Now, yes. And then finally, the wrapper from Midjourney. There. Now, if we can put that together, that is going to give us, I would say, a well-aligned prompt. Generate. This should give us an aligned prompt to start using with Midjourney, right? So we need to generate new prompts which use a blended templates. Yeah. Drawing the well, yeah. Leave it. Less is more. Okay. No empty lines. This kind of makes sense, but new prompts as complete paragraphs on a single line for each new prompt to a text file using a file name appended with a timestamp. So we're just making a factory. I don't want to give the file name a name. I just want to set it up to chunk them out. Okay. Alright. Okay, we will create a prompt generator aligned for use with a pre-trained LoRa by giving access to the full caption list and prompt template instruction. Okay, that sounds like a plan. I think I put everything in there. So now let's start typing. So we can carry out the app plan. Well, do you know what? Let's make this a little bit more literal. Carry out the plan defined inside app plan. Yeah. Alright. No 20 questions. It's alright. This is just making prompts. I want them to be a bit crazy. We want to harness the hallucination a little bit. So it's kind of like giving them a little bit of rope. So they've got some slack. Okay. Depiction of hunter-style cavewoman character with short white hair. Da-da-da-dee-dee-da-dee-dee. She's standing against a plain background. Overall appearance suggests a bright minimalist environment. Watercolor style. Da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, that's very good. Okay. Alright. Now we will plan the categories for each of the 10 files that will be generated. Each containing 20 detailed prompts which follow the prompt structure. However, I will variate on the, you guessed it, caption description, which will variate, I should say variate exclusively the caption description only, preserving the other elements. Say the character description cannot change as we aim to increase the coherency of this particular outfit. Okay, it's good enough. Hashtag good enough. So, Vernicar says, is human style a flawed proposal to avoid Neanderthal outcome? I think maybe. Human style. It would actually work. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so look, see when I said, look, it's funny, I didn't, there's a little bit of magic that just took place, okay? So, remember, now we will plan the categories for each of the 10 files that will be generated. What categories? Yeah? Each containing 20 prompts which follow the structure however they will, right? So, I kind of brushed past that part. We will plan the categories. So, what are they? So here we go, prompt type, depiction of, character, prompt style, use a rotating set of artistic styles for variety. Ah, I see, it's still not right. We don't want that. We want the prompt style to remain the same. Okay, right, I didn't tell him, that's my fault. That's my fault. It's actually, I'll read over what he's done though, he did everything else correctly. We should also fix the prompt style for now. Okay, let's scroll up and read what he said. So he's going to do post-apocalyptic urban, might nix that, snowy wastelands, desert landscapes, lush wilderness, industrial zones, futuristic sci-fi, subterranean, okay, coastal marine, ethereal, no. So there's a couple I'm going to say don't bother with, because that's not in the story, you see what I mean? What specific prompt style should be used, it's asking me. Well, that's easy. As defined inside our plan, the correct fixed prompt style in the template structure is this. Watercolor style, graphic novel, illustration, detailed ink, line work, because it's for Mid-Journey. Okay. Okay. Now, what else do we need to tell him? We also need to tell him these settings should be replaced with land that time forgot, or prehistoric. Do you know what? I should just say Conan the Barbarian, for lack of a better term. I wish there were. Is there a term for that world? I don't want to go off on another side quest. I think it should. With okay, type, location, categories. These settings. Okay. These themed categories. Yeah. Just a little bit of curation in the prompt plan, guys. It goes a long way. Right, so we don't want post-apocalyptic because it's set at a time far, far, far beyond. Set in a far No, not that one. Not that one. Not that one. That one. Set in the far future, there are no industrial wastelands. There are no futuristic whatchamacallits. That's in the past. Nature has taken over. That's what we're doing. Nature has taken over. I know that's not what the concept art looks like right now. It's definitely not an ethereal thing. Weather phenomena you can keep. Okay, implementation approach. Okay, we just fix the style. It says, oh, what should the style be? The shelves? Yep, right, go. Hyborian age. Ah, cheers, dragon. I should mention that. Hyborian age. I'm gonna tell him that. I'm gonna do it. Dinosaur inhabited clearings. See, maybe it went a bit too far. See, telling him Conan was way strong. Okay. Please exchange the references to Conan the Barbarian for a world which is the future of Earth in 10,000 years, which takes on aesthetics similar to the Hyborian age. Right, because I don't want to be like borrowing from it directly. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be like, oh, and then the Lich King. I'm not saying that. I'm just like, oh, the Lich King or whatever. You know, quoting character names straight from it. Often, if you like, oh, it's a bit like Lord of the Rings. Before you know it, you bump into Gimli. Yeah. So that's not what I'm trying to do. Please exchange the references to Conan the Barbarian for a world which is the future of Earth in 10,000 years, takes on an aesthetic similar to. It's the new Hyborian age, guys. All right. Keep planning. Keep planning. We'll get there. Okay, cool. Yes, good. Okay, this is going to be good. Wait. Character description. Core components. These are consistent, and then it changes the bit in the middle. Excellent. This is much nicer. Much nicer. Great desert, forest, badlands, primitives, tribal city-state, wetland, stronghold, ancient power sites. Yeah, sure. Yeah, actually, that makes sense. That's in the story. All right. So we're good. We've done it. Depiction of hunter-style cave woman Sharona. It's even going to give us the thing. We could probably use the same prompt list with the Laura when we're done training it. That's what I'm aiming for. It's like a master prompt list, which I can sort of real-world test. Because at the moment, I'm testing captions. That's not how people use the models, right? They put all kinds of stuff in. Wait, what? Oh yeah, themed caption description variant. All right, let's go. Safeties are off, guys. Look at it go. All right. Time to hide. Okay, look at that. It's making a lot of prompts. Oh, wait a minute. Why are you generating them? What's he doing? Oh man, I think he's going to create I'll create a Python script to generate the theme prompts and set. Okay, it'll be cheaper this way. I'm okay with this. I'm alright with this. It's going to be fine. He's going to use Python. Okay. See, every now and then he impresses me. See, it would have been, if it was ChatGPT or Gemini, it would have just given you some prompts and been like, pay up. You want more? Pay the man. I'll charge you. Claude is like, I'll make you a Python generator. See, he's teaching me to fish instead of selling me fish. Right? Which is quite cool. It's very cool, actually. And you could probably make it even better by adding an LLM API to enhance the prompts that you generate. Because you don't want to, a lot of the time you don't want it to change a lot. I mean, just look at some of these. These are just the location part of the prompt. Look at all the things it's doing. And what I would do is I would actually put like an attention bracket around this part of the prompt when I'm running it to bring a little bit more, not 1 maybe, like 0.7, 0.8 maybe. Just got to play with stuff like that. But yeah. So by the end of it, you end up with 10 times 10. That's 100, but it's generators. So if you did 10 times 10 times 10, well, now you've just generated 1,000 prompts, just like that. Put that in a file and use my randomizer. Done. It's like you just completely take the cognitive load out of all this stuff. You know, when there's like, oh, we've got an enhancer on our generator. Have you? That's cool. You can make your own. You can make your own. I wonder if he's going to run it as well. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Is he just going to say, I made it, call it a day? I think actually as well that... oh, I've run out of money. Give me a sec. We just have to do a little top up. Yeah, basically, I would say... Like, even though I've been coding for a long time, I don't consider myself a developer because I'm an engineer. I'm the guy that used to get the servers up and running so they could run the code, right? That was my function, was not to write code, but to make sure the code could run when we know that it works. But I've actually learned more about coding from watching Claude code. That's the funny thing. From watching what he decides to do and reading back what he's got here, it opens up doors in your brain as to new ways to move forward on problem solving, which is like the whole point, right? And the way that he sets stuff out, this is so neat. It's so clean. People talk about, oh, AI is all, you know, poop code and all this, and I'm like, I don't know. It's pretty clean. To be fair, it's pretty clean. And yeah, it does do weird stuff, like it'll make you install a requirements.txt, which literally says inside it there are no requirements. I've always found that hilarious. So then people are installing a virtual environment, but there's no custom packages in it. So it's like, why? You just run the Python. Okay. But yeah, this is so clean. Anybody could actually just read the comments and have a rough idea with no coding knowledge. Oh, okay. Timestamp is... Look, how do you make a date? Look, there you go. If you look, how do I do a date stamp in Python? You'll find loads of articles, right? Right here, here's an example of how to do a timestamp in Python. And he's showing you how to do it as a variable, so that when the actual script gets run, here's our file name struct, Sharona prompt, Steam name, timestamp. So now, you know what I mean? And look, you can use this to make all. I mean, look, I appreciate, you know, what I would do is use LLM to change these as well, necessarily make more. But it, like, LLM wrote these, and then it's going to use the Python to assemble them. Now, why is this better than just getting it to give me them? I've spent 31 cents with Claude doing it this way. Yeah. Now, if you wanted to get 1,000 prompts out of Claude, they're going to be full length. It's going to write out every single word every single time. It'll be, I would say, because it would be all of this every time, all of this every time, so the tokens for that bit, you've saved the tokens for that times everything, so it's way cheaper. Anyway, let's see if we can let him finish his job, because I actually ran out of you know, Claude tokens. Give me a sec. So he's always running out of tokens, but I run out of dollars. Okay, I've been accepted. Wait. Yeah, I've been accepted. They have allowed me entry. Okay, we're good. So, just had to top it up, basically. That's what that error means. So he wants me to now run it. Let's go. Now, if his dog code didn't run, he would have had an error and he would have had to fix it. But guess what? It was one shot, ladies and gentlemen. One shot. Like I say, I know it's just a bit of Python, but what if that's all I need? Like I said, we're going to dispel a lot of these mysteries. That's what we do a lot of the time here. People talk about this and that, but you know, if you lay things out and plan what you're doing, like I just showed you, it's actually very, very easy. If you just need to have the ideas now, you know. So anyway, let's take a look at that. Okay, so if I now go to the files, I have prompts. I have 100 prompts. 100 prompts. And the thing is that if I've got a tool here now where all I have to do is just mutate the examples to different things, and that's another 100, another 100, another 100. And you're doing it for like 30 cents where it should have been more than that. Like I said, like getting variants on that. If I say, oh, actually, can I have more? Because it doesn't need to make all of the code. I only need to vary the description part. But the point is, it's all formed. Anyway, enough talk, yeah? Enough talking. Let's go for neo-primitive postline. So, now we jump over to Midjourney. Midjourney, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace everything from there. Like that. We should get away with Sharona Woman. I hope it doesn't do some weird stuff. Alright, so let's run that. And I want to get a couple because I don't want it to be like, you know, bad seed. We'll give it the best of 3, and there's 4 images in each. Now, I haven't changed the images yet. That's going to be another step. But the reason that we just took all that time to build this is because now what we've got is like I can just click and I can go, oh, I want a completely different situation, and I can just come back here and be like, oh, I'm going to do ice, I'm going to do ruins. We've just like got a buffet of places the character could be. So obviously the next thing to do is to tighten up the images, because these are from a previous generation, right? So even though they're on point, it's because we've tuned it to get this close. This is as close as we could get. So new prompt, which will help, and then new images. Okay. Lord Mo says, perhaps from best practices documentation, if that's the case, it's aware of a character flaw in humans. Fernicar says, weird that not every code is as documented as LLMs does. Makes me wonder where it got it from. Yeah, I think you're probably right, Lord Mo. It could be something which it's actually learned. Because remember, AI is just a reflection of humanity. You know, it can only learn from one species, unfortunately. So we can't blame the horses. Okay. So yeah, look, this typical Midjourney thing. Completely different person in one image. Weird, broken there. Weird, broken one giant. It's got one arm and no arm. So that one's weird. So it's only that one. It's not bad though. I will add it to the collection. So I see these as like a compositional reference type material because they're very close, and I know that we're at the point where, what the hell, is she missing an arm? Oh, it's a shame. So that's close. That one looks funny for some reason. Too many straps, isn't it? Because I don't mind them being different, because, you know, the idea is that you have to put these on every day, so you take them off periodically to clean them, so then they go back on in a different way. So you can kind of get away with, you know, gloves and all that kind of stuff looking different. But if you've got like quite a obvious belt buckle or quite an obvious style of top. You can't really change that all the time, you know. It doesn't make thematic sense, basically. Like, why is she wearing armor on, you know? And here it's one side's longer than the other. So anyway, we've got this. So the next step is to change the image reference, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to be brave, and we're going to take out these, and then we're going to go find our thing. We're going to try and break. Where's Comfy? Oh, right. Let's see if we can break it. Are we ready? Are you ready? It had a bit of an issue earlier. It had a bit of an issue earlier. It got to here and it killed itself. So let's see what happens. It might be that Machines 14 is about to go. He lasted quite a while, actually, guys. I let it carry on for another month to see how long it would last. Don't tell me it's not gonna. So yeah, some kind of spike. Oh, okay, here we go. Ah, wow, what was that? You see what I'm talking about? Something that we were doing like yesterday. It was fine. Yesterday, day before, it was fine. Today, just dies. No error, no crash log. Seppuku fell on his sword for his master. Okay. It's alright. Something else I'll have to approach. I'm not going to waste any time on it right now. The point is, it's been cooking up those images for some time. Doi. It's folder. Test 1. Quite annoyed that we couldn't get the upscaler working, because, you know, that's like half the work is the upscaler, you know, so the face isn't very good. You know, the face isn't very good and it's not very sharp. It's because it's it hasn't had its upscale pass. But anyway, enough complaining. Just makes it harder for me to find consistent image in here. Right. Need a better way to show what we're doing. There we go. That can work. Like that, maybe. It's about as good as it gets, I think. It's reasonably consistent. Style reference. We're basically like brute forcing to see how close we can get. I say brute forcing, it's more like growing a tree. Takes a while. They're too much like socks. Okay, that one can work. No, they're trousers, they're just normal socks, they're flares. It's real tough. She's a midget with a giant head. Because the computer doesn't know. Look, see? The computer's just like, what? You asked me for giant leg things. Here you go. Is this not what you want? Oh, wow. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. One leg in, one leg out. No. You can get away with it. You can get away with it. Trying to define the scope of variation is tough because you need high quality samples. Luckily, we've made 500 of them again. Sometimes I'm like, oh, just go back to the normal looking socks. It'd be easy. But then I'm like, yeah, but then you're not doing anything. You're just making a bird with socks. It's not really a thing. That's pretty good. See, we really need to change this source image as well, but I'll have to find like a really good one. Or at least one that's like close. I think the world is starting to look better though. If you remember at the start, everything was just on a blue background. Eaten by a giant zebra called dog meat was that arm. Oh yeah, you're still interested in getting the zebra to be called dog meat. I think you should call it Bones. You know, like give it like Rover. Give it a really, if you want to do the joke that it's a dog, you lean into it. Call the zebra Rex. You know, like lean into it. Oh yeah, she considers it a dog. You know, I mean that one's got the correct type of a leg protection. See, that's some high level armor. See, protect you from all sorts of things. When you think about it, right? People said to me, "What kind of protection is this going to offer you?" Okay, well, if you've got super thick leg thingies like this, they're made of like bear hide or something, right? So, all them poisonous insects and lizards and snakes and, you know what I mean? All of that, stinging material, thorns, you know, all of that, you're safe. Well, you're not safe, but you're way more protected in a time when there is no body armor. Do you know what I mean? You can't even get a pair of jeans. So I'd say when you're walking through, like, grass, there's bugs and all kinds of stuff, right? Gonna go for you. It's going to give you a bit more of a chance. Okay, granted, she's got exposed leg, which is a bit dumb. But yeah, I suppose if you got attacked by a pack of wolves, they're going to be just biting bear hide. So, you know, it's like, it does make sense. It's the same with the ones around the arms as well. I would imagine there's all kinds of benefits to it. I know it's like it looks stupid, because it kind of does, but I kind of like the aesthetic. But I was thinking about it like this here, where you've got like thick gloves, yeah. I was like, actually, if you're going to be like climbing around all this sort of stuff, you probably would have like bindings as protection. It actually makes, I think it makes a lot of sense. Maybe I'm just kidding myself. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But it's fun to think about this kind of thing. This is how you sort of get into what you're creating. You know, you kind of have to drink your own Kool-Aid. See, that could work actually. Alright. So tough. Because this last file that we're going to change is like the most important one. If you change that one, that's the one that has the biggest impact. All of these are like, this is what we did. This is all the stuff we used to do. The only thing is they come out a bit too much like a riding boot, which isn't what I'm going for. And that is funny. I don't know, it could just be a belt. She doesn't have exposed shoulders ever. I don't know where that came from. I mean, that one's pretty good. It's tough. It's so tough. And none of these are upscaled either. So, like, normally I would be, like, upscaling my favorites first and then putting them in, but... And, like I said, we might have to tweak the selection that I've made here. Do you have any more interesting stuff? Yeah, we can reinforce the scarf. Okay. No, too basic, too modern, too modern. A lot of it looks like Final Fantasy or Star Trek. So it's like kind of hard to get that. You know, like what's the balance between like just looks like something out of a video game and it's tough. Like, see, just have a video game. Just have a video game. What do you want? Do you want Final Fantasy or Resident Evil? Let's see. That's a pretty good shot, you know. Shame. That's better, but in this one, she looks about... I don't know. She doesn't look very old, but she doesn't look that young either. The face is old. The proportions are funny. Should have a taller body. I don't know. It's hard to tell actually, because think about you got like this giant material everywhere. It's pretty similar to the rest of them. Ah, that's because it is the same. Ah. Okay, right. This is what I'm talking about. I prefer this one to the other one because the other one had black underwear. Have we got anything else here? Okay, so there's a few more. Like, is it a loincloth or a skirt? And maybe is it shorts? So if I can get another one with a scarf and a loincloth, because like I say, often it'll give her denim shorts, you know, when it should be like a loincloth type get-up. Like that. But now there's loads of people in the background. You want to be like... Make my person, but no people in the picture. Yeah, shoulder strap, too many shoulder straps. See, it's funny, normally you'd be like, you can't be this picky, and it's like, no, you really can though. Because we just made all of these for fun. Okay, I think that one is better than that one. So I'll put that one in like that. Okay, so looking at the images I've picked, I got some blue sky, some cloudy sky, some orange sky. I got some rock, I got some grass, I got some fields, I got some, I don't know, desert, ruined stuff. And that's on the image side, right? Now, it's only going to take this as inspiration. SVG is going to be vision. So it's going to take all these different outfits. Her socks are a little low. Look. I handpicked all of them, so... Alright, let's just do it. And Dragon says he's got a funny story about ticks in the grass. I'll tell you after the stream. Anything to do with ticks, I hate. Burrowing... Oh, no. That's nasty. Nasty. But yeah, you can tell me after the stream. Dragon says, how on earth did you manage that when I just killed my comfy in one slick move? He says, all I can do to my break comfy is with wonky nodes. It might just be my PCs are hilariously overloaded because I had deleted 80 gigabytes of old Adobe software today. Didn't even know they were on there, so we're always finding underutilized space. What else is going on? Dragon. No. Fernicar. I think Resident Evil has to rely on familiar modern era items and structures to deliver the jump scares. Yeah, well, it's what do you call it? Contemporary sci-fi. So. Okay, so straight away, one thing I'm noticing is she's wearing shorts. What happened to my loincloth? So let's just have a quick look at it. Ah, it's because the main character looks a bit more like a loincloth. No, it looks more like a utility belt with shorts. Damn it. So hang on, we've got to find a nice one for the reference. Hang on a minute. How about we just move one across that one? There. And again. So yeah, bad Omni image. I mean, they're not bad. It's just like I said, too much modern gear in and shorts. I don't think I've ever had her in shorts. It's always been like a mini skirt or like a loincloth type thing. And then I've been fighting modernism, because the one thing about AI is it has a heavy bias to modern stuff, obviously. So when you want to come along and do something that's set in like a distant time, it gets a bit tricky. You can do it though. And like I said, what I'll do is I'll use these as canny or depth inputs. So when you use it as a depth input, it won't matter that it's got shorts, because it'll redraw that anyway. But it would be cleaner to get it. Yeah, we've got the loincloth back. Okay, so how different is that from the last set? Well, they're not very oversized. But it's a start. It's kind of looking a bit generic. I hope it is like obviously fur or something. Because the idea is, once we got the mix right, I'm just going to start changing prompts from the list that we made earlier. And obviously I won't be doing that for the whole stream. That's a bit tight. I've got other things I want to show you. But I just wanted to share the process.
As I do.
I mean, this isn't bad actually. Right, so let's try a different one. Let's go for mutated wetlands. What the hell? So if I go use, and then I just literally exchange out the prompts. Not the no stuff. I keep that separate. So I said no sci-fi mechanical goggles, because yeah. Trying to keep it clean. Oh wow, it's going to be mushrooms. She's moving carefully through a foggy marsh where a massive fungi sprout from the remains of ancient structures, their caps forming a bizarre secondary canopy. See, this is really hard. Like, to be able to do this and it actually not look like crap. It's tough. It's tough because, like, you know, I might have trained my model to have a knowledge of certain things, but it's probably never heard of all of that stuff, and it'll sometimes get really confused. And so what I like to do is just generate a few high conceptual scenes for the LoRa to kind of dose up its creativity. This is why I keep talking about widening scope by providing quite abstract samples at times. Okay, you got to be careful not to go too far, because you might get obsessed with it, like, oh, that's the best thing ever, and then you get it all the time. But anyway, we're still dealing with Midjourney right now, so it's still like we're feeding in our artwork in, and then using our prompt with the LLM and the captions from the LoRa to actually align it. So just in case you weren't here at the start of the stream, the recap is very simple. What we've done is we've said, I'm going to create a prompt generator aligned for use with my pre-trained LoRa by giving access to the full caption list and prompt template instruction. So obviously if I have a look here, I've given the example prompt, and then for Midjourney, and then a breakdown of the template, a breakdown of how that works, and then the caption, and then the caption template. That's how the caption works for the tramp that's trained. And I broke up two parts of it so that we can do variation on just this bit, and then that means that we only pay 50 cents for the whole thing, because we don't actually use the LLM to write out a bunch of prompts. We use the LLM to build a Python system that generates a bunch of prompts, because the reality is that a lot of the prompt doesn't actually have to change, so there's no point in paying the same tokens. What, are we going to just pay token cost for printing that, like all of these three things out thousands of times? What's the point? We only need the LLM to generate one line of code, which we can then assemble, which 75% cheaper. That's the reason for me to do it this way. 75% cheaper. It's not bad. And it's totally customizable. We started off with nothing, just a text message, just a text file, and the actual, you know, LoRa caption list, which we use to actually train the LoRa. And then there you go, you have your prompts. You have the prompts. All right. And I guess you could just fork this and change it to make even more. I mean, it's easier to just change this and run it again. Even cheaper. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these. Seems like she's changing from one. She's going all the way around the world with her ethnicity on that one. But again, those sorts of things don't matter because we do face swapping, you know. I would be using these for composition, like I said, not directly for training. I'd use them as an image guide with my LoRa model, like image to image, depth or canny, or both. Maybe we'll extract the open pose from these images and just use that. See, you don't have to just use this for what it is. It could be an input map or some other guidance for generating with your actual pre-trained LoRa. And like I said, for that reason, they're all pretty good, but the shape of the face does change quite a lot. I think it's still the same silhouette. It's just Midjourney is kind of moving things around. Look, narrow eyes, long nose, wider eyes, long nose, short nose, medium distance. Do you know what I mean? It's funny. Midjourney's funny, it is. But they are quite consistent. If you actually look around these, they are quite consistent. The only mushroom I see in the background is that thing. So it looks like it's a rock. But I reckon this one here, which is way too photographic, but if you look at it, it is drawn. And this one here, because the hatching, those are the best two for me. Here, tall and thin. Here, average and short. Here, funny, weird facial expression. What's this? Other than that, that's a pretty good one. I'm still not sure if I'm okay with the hat with the backpack straps, but it is like backpack straps and a harness. I don't know. I think we could do better. We need to get rid of references to it. Is that what it is? I think it's that one. Yeah, I might have to still tweak it. Okay. Still not there actually. Because there's straps on her all the time. She's ended up growing a utility belt like Batman. Super tough. Look, see, that looks like she's off Star Trek or something. Yeah. It's tough. It's like it might be worth just going in and in-painting like 12 to 20 images so that they don't have these like minor problems, and then just go with that. But it's clear that whatever I give it, it's going to follow it well. But it's almost like, do I have an image which is like, I just need one solid image? I might just go back to the data set rather than the ones I've been making today. The other thing you can do, obviously, is image to image using the original set. See, that's not bad. It's not the best, but it's not bad. Oh, yeah, you can only have one. Yeah. Let's see if we can't find another one. It's actually tough. Like, when you're looking, it's like multi-dimensional, the similarity. Like trying to play Snap. That one's pretty good. Oh, the legs aren't though. Some of them are like really going for it. That one, if if it was just a little bit, if those socks were a little bit tougher. It's supposed to be like, you know what I mean? Because if you're like, I'm going to draw a guy with a big head, and then you draw the guy and you train him, and he doesn't have a big head, well, it didn't learn the thing, did it? You know? And at that point, it's like, well, if it can't do the thing, well, it can't do the thing. And that's pretty much the criticism that's leveled at AI, is that it can do generic stuff, but when it comes to like a concept which you may well call silly. Lord Mo, yo DJ, hit me one of your stories please, the satirical tower one with the wizards and sorcerers. Yeah, we're going to do Writers Club before I finish up. I might move my SVG tools demo to tomorrow because it's getting there. But we're definitely going to be taking a look at the tower tonight, Lord Mo, so hang on for that one. It's actually kind of funny, like, I want to find like a old wizardly voice AI to read it back for people. Okay, let's go. Dragon says, by the way, I've nearly finished the realistic Sharona Laura based on the images you've been posting. I'll train tonight. Oh, that sounds great. Fernicar said, probably quite a while ago now. Oh, I already read that. I think I already read that. Yeah, that sounds great, Dragon. Like I said, feel free. Any images I release, you can go ahead and do whatever you want with, basically. Like, I consider stuff that's out to be... you could call it public domain, but that's a legal definition, which is not correct. Because technically, if I used something... if I say public domain, and technically I used a tool which doesn't allow that, then what I said doesn't even count. So it's like, you know, my intention with stuff I share online is to give it away and let people use it. But, you know, some restrictions may apply. But, you know, whatever. I'm not a lawyer. Out, or just out. What the hell do you mean by that? What I mean is, if I released a data set, feel free to train your own model with it. If I released a model, feel free to merge that model into your project. If I released an AI generator of some media, feel free to use it for commercial use, you know, all that. I tried to put things under either Apache or MIT. If it's under MIT, it might be because it's based on some source code, which is also under MIT. It's tough, you know. You're not really legally allowed to give anything away. you have to put terms on it. These aren't coming out too badly, actually. There are some strange artifacts on her shoulder, but yeah, we've got a decent amount of padding around there everywhere. Okay, so yeah, let's take this one. This one. This one. We're definitely getting some more creative environments now. Yeah. Before, it was kind of boring. So rerun that, rerun that, rerun that, and then we'll get the next prompt from a different category. So the next prompt, I want to do the ice. Let's do prompt 10. And we're going to change all of that. Whoa. Oh crap. You don't save it, you just run it. Okay. Yeah, what I'll probably do is read out like maybe a couple of pages. Like someone said the other day, if the first 3 pages suck, then, you know, you can judge the book on... I was taught the 5-page test, where you read the first 5 pages of a book, and if it's good, if you don't want to put it down, you know, if you want to read the next, then you buy it. That was basically the rule, right? But, yeah. And just the other day, I heard on the radio they were doing this new writers competition in the UK, where you were only allowed to submit the first 3 pages of your book, and if you win, you get 75,000, and they like try to publish you or something, which is pretty cool. I forget the details, but you can probably find them easy. But yeah, it was quite interesting. I was like, that's interesting. Like, you know? And they were like, you don't even have to have finished the book yet. We want to make it as open as possible. I was like, that's cool. You know? Because normally that kind of thing is like closed off if you're not like in. You've got to be in the system. Okay, so this is actually kind of productive. Like I can't, like a headband, a rogue headband is useless because you know, in painting out black stuff can be more challenging than it's worth. Technology, knee pads. She's got a gun for some reason, or what it looks like. I suppose you could in paint it. Ah, she's also got tech on her shoulder, so that one is there. That one I can keep. I can use that. Looks weird, but probably get away with it. Okay, we're not at the ice yet. Yeah. What's this one? Frozen surface, rerun. Okay. But yeah, I will briefly talk about it so that we didn't completely skip the section. I'm going to spend more time actually going over it and installing it all. See, that was the intention, was to show the demo. But it's going to take up too much time and I can't cancel Writers Club tonight. So it's like that. But I will briefly go over what it's about. So the first one is Color Operations UI. What it does is it allows you to change with a hex code the largest shape or shapes by size, largest size. So you can pick from a list and change their hex code for SVG scalable vector graphics. Okay, and it's got like a windowed UI, but it's not graphical. It's just a list of shapes by largest size, and you change the colors. Right. Next one is SVG Arc Grid. Now you can get all of these on my GitHub right now. Just download and run the Python. Some of them you have to install something. So this image was generated using Python and SVG. Okay, just to simplify it. Obviously you can take the code, fork the code, build your own stuff with it. So it makes a grid of squares with a different pattern in each. There's a seed. And you know, it's this kind of stuff. This is what I wanted to make. This is what I made. There are some overlap layering things, but I kind of like that. Do you know what I mean? I don't mind. Like, if you're a perfectionist, you'd probably be like, oh, this layer's the wrong order. But I'm like, do you know what? I think that's kind of fun. I think that's cool. It's fine. You will notice that this is actually a big square, and it is dividing up. There's a metric for how it divides them up, so it won't be like this. That might have been a 4 or an X, you know, might have been something else. But anyway, this is made in Python. You've got all these beautiful variables. You can most likely expect there to be a comfy UI node to do this, mainly because I like to use these generators as image input, because it's an infinite input. You can use it with ControlNet, you can use it with image to image. It's not necessarily, like I said, I look at all this sort of stuff as the start point to be combined with another process. So ControlNet, image to image, those sorts of things are a great example. Also, what about this? The background for a video that you have done RemBG on. So now you've got this behind the dancing girl, right? Just for lack of a better example. So it doesn't have to be, you know what I mean? You can have a still. Anyway. So yeah, more generative options for that. And you can change all kinds of stuff. Look, like no big block, so you don't get the big square, the big plus sign now. Got lots of different options, fully explained. Moving on. SVG noise CLI. So this is, I noticed you can create noise with SVG code. So I thought, well, if we can generate SVG, and we've got all these SVG tools, why not have SVG noise? Because it can do gradients and all kinds of stuff. And then you could use that as your injection into generation. So the idea is to inject it into your generations. because it's using a turbulence. It's using a turbulence, so it's color noise, and you can like literally determine everything. What color noise do you want? You know. So this is another thing. If people don't figure out how to use it before I get there, because expect there'll be a comfy node like again, then obviously I'll be demonstrating it in time. So if you've got time to wait, just wait for me to get round to it, and remember I was halfway through this one. So yeah, there you go. Noise patterns, different noise types, all that good stuff. Seed based, all that good stuff. Gradients, imagine that. Noise, gradient noise. I haven't seen that for a while. So yeah, there it is. And I got some HTML demos which I'll be showing when we do the install. They're already actually in here if you want to check them out. I don't think you can run them easily on... oh, that's an SVG, I don't think. Oh no, look, there you go. Look, you can see the noise. That's one of the noise demos. We have another one. I don't think we're able to... Yeah, I'm going to host these web pages soon, so there'll be a link to those. Alright, moving on again, we have Shan Shui. So Shan Shui is... Oh wait, no, okay, yeah, great. So, this is generated, okay, so generative... I mean, the guy that wrote this original code did it in JavaScript, and what I've done is I've turned it into a Python CLI tool so that we can make a comfy node so that it can then make us... background landscape control net, right? Because obviously you can put this into a canny and it will make you an image that matches this for going behind a subject or composition. So that's the plan on that one. And obviously it does actually have an infinite tiling to the right feature, so but I don't think it's currently active in the current version. It's in there. Golden Shadow can probably bring it back for us. Yeah, some of these instructions are a little bit baked. Like, see this? Seed, random seed, timestamp, huh? So yeah, this is... But yeah, it runs and it works, and you can make images with it. But it does... This one, for some reason, is saving in a... Oh no, that is an SVG. I'm thinking of the next one. So then the last one is Non-Flowers CLI. And Non-Flowers CLI is actually very cool. Again, it's from the same guy that did the landscapes. Are the tower stories online? Asks Lord Mo. No, they're not, I'm afraid. They are still very much in production. We're going to be bringing them out. Although what I do plan on doing is serializing them. Probably for free. So, like, we'll do a couple of chapters from... Maybe, like, we'll do, like, book 1 or something. Or, you know, I've got a plan to basically, like, release a lot of it for free. You know what I mean? Because I'm not trying to make money. I'm trying to demonstrate the idea, like, on this project. What I'm trying to do is demonstrate that it works. And if you are a writer and you want to finish off those projects you've been looking at collecting dust for the last however many years, this will get you there. And then you can close the book, for lack of a better term, on some of those old projects. That's what I'm doing for a lot of the people I'm coaching. They're literally going, look, because this is the thing, I had the same experience. Oh, I've been trying to finish this for years. And it's up on Amazon for sale. And there are probably a bunch of people waiting to buy it, because if you've been working on something a long time, you've mentioned it to people. But again, that's not always the goal. The goal is the art. So, you know, once you've written your story, what are you going to do with it? So we're looking at illustrating the models, and I'm looking at a bunch of SVG stuff. But to answer your question directly, I think that Tower is the 3rd trilogy that I wrote last week. So right now I'm working on Sharona, which was the 1st book in the 4th trilogy. So, like I said, and we're doing a lot of stuff on the images. And, you know, that's mostly because I want to have a solid system ready. Not just for doing cover art. You know, I could do the cover art tomorrow, but I'd like it to be something which I can show, and then other people can just copy what I did and have the same success. So that's what I'm trying to do. But yeah, I'll get onto that in a minute. This is the last part of the SVG speed run. So, re-implementation of Ling Dong Huan's original non-flowers web-based generator. Okay, puts them out to not SVG but PNG for some reason. Not quite sure why that is, but that is what it is. So there is a flower. It's in a traditional style. I think the noise might be a little bit overdone, but apart from that, everything's parameterized. And again, my plan is to demo this by generating the flower and then putting it through diffusion and making it into either a more realistic flower or stuff like that. Vernicar, gold, just like I've demonstrated. You guys should bring to life your personal projects. No excuses. It's true. We have less and less excuses nowadays. If you can actually finish a big project in a couple of hours, it's sort of like, what are you waiting for? It's never been easier. I mean, I suppose there's some people who are like, oh, well, I'll just wait another week and it'll be even easier then. And there is an element to that, and I discussed that actually in a short. Yeah, that's another thing. I edited like 23 shorts today. It's going to start raining soon. But there was a bit of a content drought where I was so busy, so I want to give back by producing many highlights of all our beautiful live shows like the one you're watching right now. Now look at all this. Look at this. This is something crazy I want to show you. Okay, look at the parameterization of this tool for making the flowers. We got stem count, stem length, stem width, stem bend, leaf chance, flower chance, leaf length, leaf width, flower width, flower petal, branch depth, branch fork, branch width, sheath length, sheath width, shoot count, shoot length, and don't forget leaf position. So the fact that all of that actually works, because remember, this is an AI Python port from JavaScript, right? And it did it in one shot. So, you know, if some of these things don't work, it's because I didn't even test them. Like I say, I'm just going to be honest, right? Didn't even test them. I tested the main feature, which is default, because I don't know what numbers people are going to put in here. And we generated this in 5 minutes. Obviously, it wouldn't be possible without the work of the original author. So I do have a link to him in the bottom there. Because all it's doing is follow the logic. Yeah, follow the logic of this JavaScript, please. And then we have our, you know, SVG. I haven't tried this high resolution version yet, but I think we're just making it bigger. Basically, it's still, because if you don't say an option, it's defaults. So the way I'm starting to make them is that if you don't specify an option, then it'll just run defaults, because that way, if you just run the script, it doesn't go and then you don't know how to run it. So I thought it more user-friendly to code the script so that you can pass all these options if you want, but if you don't, it has a default. Yeah. Because remember, it's generating an image, so we don't need to give it a path or anything. We just need to run it and see if it can do it. And like I said, I've been quite surprised with these. I would hope, I mean, you can get a bad seed. Like, to be honest, this is quite a bad seed. But I wanted to be honest about what it makes. You know what I mean? Like, there's no point generating 100 and then showing you the best 3. This is a typical output. And I can show you another typical output using the herbal mode. Again, see what I mean? It's like kind of... You can, like I said, some of them I've seen will go and make the whole page up, but some of them are just literally a shoot. And I don't know if it's broken, missing layers, or if it's just, like I said, a bad seed. But anyway. So that's done. Obviously, we were generating images with it at the start of the show. The Sharona character Laura version 2 is done. Nothing's dead. And how are we doing? How are we doing? That's a completely different face. Weird haircut. Otherwise, yeah, a weird haircut. Wow. Midjourney's so dreamy, it's making all these weird patterns on everything. Does it say something in the prompt about that? Tribes. Tribal. They're tribal markings, apparently. I think I'll get that one as well, because it's an interesting composition. Might be able to fix it. Very black bangles. Okay, that one can work. That one can work. Okay, last category. I wonder. Ruins of ancients, volcanic badlands, highland strongholds. Let's get some desert. Let's get some desert. Copy that one. Use this. And then we will come back to this. So let's see if I go and use enter, and then what I meant to do, rerun. So there's 3 of them cooking. I'll leave that like that. Let's go and get you the request. We have a request for the tower. So let's go and get book 1 and give it a read. Tower Trilogy, everyone. Look, let's see. This is actually going to be fun because I haven't read the whole chapter. And I wonder if we can... Yeah, let's have some fun with this. Okay. Hopefully, this is the first page. Now remember, this is the first draft, unedited. This is the result of what comes out of my agent. The process that we use to write the books. So, I will now attempt to not read this out too badly. So, here we go. The Tower Raiders' Final Ascent. This is chapter 1, by the way. The tavern called the Drunken Chimera's second head embodied everything practical adventurers look for in an establishment. Dim lighting to hide suspicious stains, tables positioned with optimal escape route access, and a proprietor whose memory could be reliably erased with modest financial incentives. Its sign featuring an anatomically improbable creature drinking from both heads simultaneously hung askew above the entrance. Creaking in the pre-dawn breeze like the world's least enthusiastic musical instrument. Do you know what? This music doesn't match at all. I need like some kind of like fireside tune. Tonight I think I'm gonna go away and make that. I'm not gonna read this out to Hard House, guys. It doesn't work. I can hear it in my ear and it's actually, I'm like, this is like not working. The paint had faded in curious patterns that suggested less of the gentle erosion of time. It doesn't work. It's the wrong energy. But I would be glad to do a better job. Crank it up, says Dragon. Yeah, I don't think it's the right aesthetic, guys. It's like Lord of the Rings while listening to thumping techno as read by Stephen Fry. Turn up the bass. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's quite the right theme. Because I'm messing it up. I'm hearing the beat and I'm not reading it right. It's messing me up. I keep on like ending sentences and then like yeah, I can't do it. I'd have to like have like something else. Bounce, says Dragon. Yeah, exactly, yeah. But as you can see, it features the level of humor that we were going for. Like it's not cheesy, but it's also not like making fun of itself. Lord of the Rings 3 and a thumping bass line. Yeah, memories. So, yeah, like I said, this is just in case you've already read all of this and you're like, scroll down, stop yapping. I will let you, you know what I mean? Ah, look at this. So this is something, good example. So the Tower of Zarathemagus. Zarathemagus. Mate, I can't even say that. Zarathemagus. You want us to break into the Tower of Zarathmus? Yes, that Zarathmus. The one who turned the last 3 adventuring parties into decorative garden arrangements. To steal a powerful artifact, he's almost certainly protected with every conceivable magic defense and probably several inconceivable ones, all while evading his 3 legendary lieutenants. Yeah, because we wanted Game of Death with wizards in Dungeons and Dragons style. And then a bunch of other stuff. It's not serious. Yeah, easy for you to say, says Dragon. Easy for you to what? Zarathemagus. That's like you have to do a backflip with your tongue. Zarathemagus. Because it's like, am I saying th or z? Or okay, both. Zarathemagus. Wait, Zemagus. Yeah. You just got to do a Roman you can't go Vimagius. Zarathemagus. It's like you trip over this bit. You trip over the thanks part. But yeah, look at this. Stealing with extra syllables is still stealing. What? Yeah, here we go. I strenuously object to the term steal. I prefer strategic unauthorized relocation. Nice. It's nice. It's dry. I like it. Okay, so if you've been reading all of this and you want me to scroll down again, guess what? You're in luck. Go from there. Yeah, so it's full of Douglas Adams and Terry Pratchett inspired humour and concepts and sort of writing rules, I guess you could say, distilled from not sampled text but from what it knows of the author and what it knows, so that way you're not, because the thing is, if you give it text, you infect it with those concepts, names, places, kind of like a flavour which remains in the mouth after washing it out, so shall we say, because those are associations, so you can't you can't break the association, because that's how the vectors work. It's kind of like shooting an arrow through someone and getting a bunch of entrails come out the other side. You didn't probably ask for that, but you're going to get it anyway, right? So, you hit the target, but kind of got the arrow dirty. And then that infection will leak in. And because if you ask me, that whole Zarathemagus thing reeks of a Zaphod Beeblebrox naming convention. It's not quite the same, but it's kind of similar. It wasn't that far away, Zaphod Beeblebrox, that naming, the way of naming things, and then Zarathemagus. It's like you're kind of doing something funny with the way the words put together. I don't mind having tongue twisters for the names of villains. I think that's kind of funny, because if anything ever got popular that you wrote, everyone's going to be arguing about how you even say the name of the character, which is kind of meta. To set that up as an author, because it's going to happen, is kind of, I don't know, it might be weak. Depends how well you write, I guess. Let's keep going. The only thing as well which I don't like, there's a character in here called Grok, and he is an intelligent orc, I think, but he is intelligent like a computer. So the annoying thing is, he spends a lot of his time talking like a robot. Like, he's constantly going on about probabilities and coefficients, and he's always naming, you know, and that kind of makes sense for his character. But I think in the future, I probably would try to not have these kinds of characters in the story, because the AI has a tendency to do robotic characters the same. They're just constantly reading out numbers and doing percentages and stuff, and it's dry as hell. It's probably going to be a good example for the inpainting tool, which I'm working on, because the inpainting tool, it works really well, but I'm trying to make it work with bulk. So, like, for example, right, say you have a book, and in that book there's a character, and after you've written the book, you've finished the book, and you're like, do you know what, that character needs to change. That could be a lot of work. But what if you could say, use a context-aware dynamic mask to identify all references and related excerpts of that character description, or being referenced by a third party, all that stuff, and then it would mask all that out, right? So it's only going to work on the mask, importantly, to save tokens. We don't want to be editing an entire book in full. We want to be extracting the patch using a mask. So you do LLM, context-aware masking, take the patch. It has a tool to put the patch back, okay? So you don't have to worry about that. But I want it to work with the whole book, because at the moment it's annoying to have to do every page. It's annoying. And I think that this idea, I got it from the, the in-painting workflow we did recently. I got the idea from that, because in that one, they took your mask and they said, okay, we're only going to take the text in that box. The image in that box. And I thought to myself, well, hang on a minute. If we do a masking step, then we can only extract the text according to criteria. And then we build a temporary document with only the masked text in. And then the AI knows the context, so it doesn't need all of it. And then we say, oh, actually, I think that this vampire should be a werewolf, actually. Now, that's a big change, right? But I'm trying to give it like an obvious black and white example, right? So the idea is, for example, here, to make it relevant to what we're looking at, say I don't want Grok in this book. Say I want Grok out the book. Grok's not in the book. That's a lot of work, because he's one of the gang. So you would have to set up a masking rule, and it's going to come in here and say, the werewolf, hairy wolf fingers. You know what I mean? It's going to change it from Orc's Jade Green to furry fingers, I guess, for lack of a better term. You see what I mean? And then, of course, all of his speech, his character speech rules will have changed. Therefore, he'll say the same things to make sure that the plot doesn't get broken. But he'll say it like the werewolf warrior instead of the orc robot brain guy. Because, like I said, I think what it is really is it's my fault, because when I planned the book, I wanted like a diverse spread of characters, and what I should have done is I should have just had the orc be a stereotypical muscle guy. Yeah, I think the problem is I already had a warrior. With like a talking club or something, so I didn't want to do another one like the same. And in retrospect, I probably just sort of should have had a different character entirely. Yeah. So this is actually a case of not putting the raisins in the cake mix before you baked it. It's literally that. So now I've got the issue of I'm having to do open cake surgery to exchange my blueberries for raisins or something. Oh no, it spoiled the cake. Really? It's quicker to just write the book again. Be real. It's quicker to adjust the bucket, change the character info change this for whoever. And I'm using this as an example, okay? Like, I think the characters in this are really funny, and actually this guy adds a little bit of dryness, a little bit of deadpan. He adds a little bit of deadpan to this, which the other characters don't have. So in a way it does balance out some scenes, but it's kind of like, I don't know, for me, I like reading nice prose, and so I don't really want to be like, oh, the difficulty coefficient. It's like he's annoying in the same way C3PO can be annoying. right? You know, you don't want to hear the odds. You don't care. You're just in it for the ride, right? But again, it's a dimension which balances out some of the other aspects. So, but it's a good example, is what I'm saying, for showing what I mean by batched narrative masking, which is something I'm still working on. I have to do all this stuff in my own time because it's my own research, right? You know? So, okay. So we got 5 minutes. So I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to read this out properly. But do you know what? I think I'm going to work on a better way of doing that. I think what I'm probably going to do is release book 1 as a serialization. But we're still working on getting that together. And by the way, if you are an AI writer and you are currently writing with AI and you're not ashamed and you want to explore where that goes, get in contact, because I want to put together some form of regular serialization which can be submitted to. The idea is everyone submits 1 chapter and we do it every month or something. It's probably just going to be a free PDF, guys. It's nothing crazy. But I think it's important to try and do things like this and then see where they end up. Often they end up in places you can't predict, which is beneficial for everyone involved, right? So if it doesn't exist, no one can enjoy it. So why not create it? But yeah, there'll be more information on that because I'll obviously be going on and on and on about it. There's probably going to be like a website and all that good stuff. At the moment, I'm developing TINS 2 and I'm developing narrative inversion 2. So those 2 things have taken up a lot of my downtime. The only stuff I've been doing outside of that is this Sharona stuff. Basically, we are composition mining at this point. Because like I said, I can get this image, I can make this image look more like what it should be. And because it's so close, you got to think, it's so close to what I'm doing that it'll be easy to make it look like what I want it to look like, right? So we're essentially farming image to image food here. That's how I'm looking at this. And the chances are when I've finished with this project, I'll probably cancel Midjourney again for a while. It's no like statement or anything. It's just I don't see the need to have 5 or 6 generators. I generally come in for a feature, use it and leave. Because you know how it is. You'll forget and they'll have you every month and you don't even use it at the moment, right? If I need it again, I'll sign up again. No big deal, right? It's not like, oh, so he cancelled it. So what? So what? I'll probably get it again. So, but yes, TINS 2 and Narrative Inversion 2 will both feature the interview format as a pre-planned stage, which increases the accuracy of the output considerably in both cases. It's the same trick. And that's the core of what the new version is. The beauty is you don't actually need to change the code. The MCP server doesn't need to change, which is quite surprising because it's all about that prompt when you initiate the MCP. And then obviously if you have a planning stage, steering in during the planning stage. So, okay, so where's this lake? I don't see a lake. One more thing I want to try. The default OW is 300. I actually raised it. So we went over all of the SVG stuff. It goes without saying, my SVG suite is available in the Comfy Manager if you want to check it out. The most important takeaway is that Scalable Vector Graphics, SVG, is actually an XML file. It's got its own special stuff in the code, okay, but it's XML. So what that means is if you rename the SVG.xml, throw it into an LLM, or any good LLM should be fine. Obviously large files will be more problematic, but you know what I'm trying to say. So if you throw that in there and say make this you change colors, add text, do all kinds of other effects, right? You can do it with an LLM. Just make sure you tell him save it as a .svg at the end, because there are some funny tags in the XML which indicate it's an SVG file, right? But it's really interesting because there's actually a lot you can do, guys, like color swapping. And to that end, I've made a whole bunch of nodes for styling and themes. So you know how, like in Illustrator, if you load a vector in, you can hit the color wheel now, and it'll like give you a bunch of like color. It'll change all the colors of the vector art to match a different palette, and you got all these different palette presets. It's that for comfy, guys. That's literally what it is. And it hasn't been out for long, so I doubt anybody even knows it exists. I've looked at the other SVG repos. No one's doing stuff like that, because what they're doing is clever as hell, right? They're using a Python library to convert the raster image into an SVG, and then the SVG can be previewed or saved as a PNG as well. And what I noticed was it's a string, so I looked at the string and I found XML code. All Claude, ChatGPT, they're all fluent speakers of XML. A lot of my early agents only work because of XML structure and nested tagging, okay? So it doesn't work with every LLM. I tried it with Gemini Flash because I know that's popular at the moment, and unfortunately the file that came back was corrupted. So I'm guessing that he messed up one line. You know, if you mess up one character, it will break it. And that's why I made all of the different Python tools, because again, they're not guessing differently every time. The good thing about, and this is why I think, well, this is why I was showing you with the prompt generation earlier. Yes, you can just get an LLM to make you a whole shitload of prompts. But if you want to make thousands of prompts, right, it's going to cost millions of tokens, because it all gets read out. But you know, a lot of prompts, they all start the same and they end the same. So you don't need to generate that bit. You just need to generate that short bit in the middle, which is, like I said, 3 to 4 times cheaper. And then you just use a Python script to assemble it at the end. And like I said, once you've actually got that, you can get the AI to rewrite the, you know, you can get him to do it again. And it's much, much, much cheaper, much quicker. Because have you ever been sat there and the AI is just writing lines, and it's the same lines with a very small difference each time? That's what I'm talking about. And again, I didn't actually tell him what the categories were. I just said make categories, and then when he suggested 10 of them, I said I don't like 4 of them, and so he just made up 4 more, right? So like I said, it's taking the cognitive load out of the task, but then not hallucinating into nonsense, because you're actually using a programmatic process. So this is what I say. The concept is, don't get the AI to write it all out when it comes to prompts and things like that. Make a process. So make a script. Make a script that will do it. He'll make it for you. If it doesn't work, he'll fix it for you, right? But make a script, because the script, you can use that over and over and over and over and over, and you're not asking an LLM to do it over and over and over, which increases the chances of him making a mistake. Whereas a programmatic, you know, if it works once, it'll work again, provided you're using the tool right, I mean, right? So anyway, it's just an interesting concept to keep the token cost down. Like I said, I use it all the time. It's like, we just script that, and then you're not charged for every single word, right? Okay. So that was Omni-ref part 2. It was fun. I think it's actually a really good tool. The problem it has is that the Midjourney system wants to make something different in each grid. So as you can see, there's always a different feature. It's very close, but there's always a different feature. For example, the arm patch here, that's a different color, and that doesn't even have one. There are other examples. On her shoulder, reflective metal, smaller, darker metal. See, and I don't even know what that is, to be honest. I think it's the remnants of a buckle for a strap that isn't there. Obviously here she's got something in her hand, but her sleeves are different lengths, and her, yeah, so like I said, sometimes this is like amazing, and we're using it for, this isn't like a day one process. At this point we're at like 4 days into this, 4 or 5 days into this one, so we're getting to the point where I'm like, yep, that's enough. But what will happen is these images will be used with the pre-trained LoRa as extensions for composition guidance control. Okay. But yeah, like I said, if you're interested and you're doing writing yourself, get in contact. We have a join link in the description. If you like to stream, please like to stream. And with that, that's the stream, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. Back to normal. You're going to start to see a lot of shorts coming out pointing to the older streams. I have nearly 130 streams. It's going to take a while. So there's going to be a lot of shorts. I'm kind of thankful they take up their own little space, if you know what I mean. But yeah, the idea is to show teasers that point back to the main live stream content, and then that gives me the breathing space to actually complete the main channel content, which will be a little bit more interesting, because I'll have time to actually work on it, you know. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm getting out of here.